Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 173 of the Seezus Show. We're back with another fun-filled episode. We were off a week. That's because Super Bowl passed, and there really wasn't that much movement to kind of talk about within the NBA as well, too. So happy that you guys are patient, and we are back, like I said, with another fun-filled episode. But just to rehash on 172, it was Carl Conyers and myself, and we discussed the Super Bowl recap. Shout out to the Seahawks once again. Trade deadline, league expansion, and much, much more. So we're gonna get into these heavy hitters. But before we get into these heavy hitters, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for my co-host, for my boy, for my day one, for Detroit's finest, Carl Conyers.
Good, everybody. How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just trying to survive right now. Like I told you before we started recording, man, I'm a little sick, a little under the weather, but I got my little ginger tea, got some honey in here. So we just been resting, you know what I'm saying? Talked to you about this a little earlier, watching Night of the Seven Kingdoms after this, the finale, and then I'm trying to get into the wire. It's gonna be my third attempt trying to get into the wire. It's just such a fucking slow burn. But
Mhm.
everyone says once you get past the setups, then that shit gets fired. So I'm like, all right, then there must be a reason why this is rated, if not the greatest TV show of all time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, definitely gotta let me know. It's one of those I've been wanting to. I haven't tried yet, so but sometimes it'd be hard with those older TV shows.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'll definitely keep you posted. You know what I'm saying? I just want to get to that point, but like it's like I found myself falling asleep like twice on episode two. Then I finally got through it, but it's getting a little good. It's getting a little good, so I'll keep you posted for sure.
But
But yeah, man, NBA talk, man. Where do we even start? Maybe we start with Adam Silver's war on tanking, man. I feel like not feel like the commissioner himself, Adam Sandler, I'm sorry, Adam Silver. Sorry, guys, I'm sick. And also, if my voice is a little raspy, I apologize. So we're going to start it over. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has officially informed all 30 general managers that the league plans to implement significant rule changes to curb tanking starting in the 2026-27 season during a high-level meeting. Silver delivered a stern message to team executives emphasizing that the race to the bottom has reached an unacceptable level and undermines the league competitive integrity. So that is some tough news ahead as well too. And a couple things that he kind of pointed out that you kind of sent to me. First round picks can be protected only top four or top 14 plus. Lottery odds freeze at the trade deadline or a later date. No longer allowing a team to pick top four in consecutive years and or after consecutive bottom three finishes. Teams can't pick top four the year after making conference finals. Lottery odds allocated based on 2 year records. Lottery extended to include all playing teams and flatten odds for all lottery teams. So that's some of the concepts that they're kind of thinking about. Obviously, you kind of brought this up, but what are your thoughts on all this, man?
um, I think my biggest takeaway from it was that the Jazz did this. The Jazz really ruined tanking. Because tanking has just been a part of sports since it's been sports, especially at least since there's been a draft and this is how the draft has been done. I think that the issue became this year when you have teams tanking in game. Like it was one thing to, with your roster, you're tanking or sitting guys out, stuff like that. But the Jazz this year, and I think there was a couple other teams, but it was really mainly the Jazz, um, were
Lord.
were just not playing guys in the fourth quarter of games, like close games. Their stars, their best players, they weren't playing, and it wasn't one of those because there are circumstances where it's like, oh, we were down and my subs are the ones that put us back in the game. No, it wasn't something like that where it made any type of sense. It was just we're trying to lose this game in game. Like you guys played too well, so we're not going to play our stars. And that to me was like it was just crazy. It really is. Like, people pay to see these games and it's already one thing if the star players aren't playing, but at least once I'm at the game, I'm expecting to get the best product possible and not to have in game changing the outcome like that. So, um, I'm glad that they got fined. I'm glad that there are some things being discussed. I don't really know if I agree with a lot of those measures, though. I think it's tough to try and curb it entirely. especially, the last time they tried to curb it was when they changed the odds basically and made it so, you know, stuff like where the Hawks just ended up with the number one pick, even though they were like a play-in team. They made it so, the worst team didn't have necessarily the best odds. They kind of flattened it. And I actually don't think that's been a good thing. I think the teams are still tanking the exact same, but now you have it where bad teams aren't getting rewarded with good picks. Like the Pistons are in a perfect example. We got lucky because we were able to get Cade with one of those number ones. But the next 2 years, they gave us back-to-back number five overall picks. And it's just, again, we got lucky. Cade was able to carry us and we built a decent roster, but imagine if we had been able to get, the number two or number three in some of these other drafts, like we could have Chet and some of these other players. So I just think that it's hurt a lot of teams way more. And they're also, the thing that's tough is there are some teams where it's like we're not necessarily trying to tank, we just suck. Like the Kings at this point in the season, yes, they shut everybody down. They're trying to tank. But up until last month, the Kings were playing all their best players. Everybody who was available was playing, and they just were terrible. So I think it's like also sucks because you have to try and mitigate that as well of like, well, this team isn't necessarily trying to tank, they just suck. So it should it doesn't make sense to try and take away back-to-back top four picks from them because it's not like they went out there and was like, like these niggas just can't hoop. This is just really what it is. And then there's also like the injury part of it. Like they said something where if you make the conference finals that you can't get a top four pick the next year. And it's like, to me that seems very aimed at the Pacers, where it's like, yo, our best player has been out. They were playing all of their other guys. It wasn't like they were sitting guys at any point in time. It wasn't like they were telling guys not to shoot. Like they were playing everybody on their roster. They just sucked this year. Like that's is what it is. And the exact same thing happened with the Spurs and Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Like David Robinson was injured for the whole year. They were bad. They got Tim Duncan and they went on to be a powerhouse the next couple of years. Like, and I know that that was good for the league. I know the Spurs dynasty was a good thing for the league. So I just think they need to try and like curb this while also not penalizing teams that are in circumstances that are a little bit beyond their control.
Mm. Do you think there's a little bit of an overreaction for this particular well, for this year in this upcoming draft because this is supposed to be one of the best draft classes in a while?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, teams are, it's similar to what we saw with Wemby, but again, that wasn't that bad. But you guys literally traded away your best player for some picks. Like but that to me, that's an acceptable level of tanking of like we're planning for the future. But that's what, when it was Wemby's draft, that's what teams were doing was like, okay, we're just trying to get some assets and not have a bunch of great players on our team. It seems like this year, these guys are just, yeah, taking it to another level. So I think, of course, yeah, there is an overreaction with this, but there's going to be good draft classes, and you just can't do this. Like, that's really what it is, point blank, period. Like, again, there's always been tanking, but it becomes a line of like, now at the end of the day, the fans do matter, and now you're really disrespecting the fans.
Yeah, nah, it's disrespecting the fans and the integrity of the game itself. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so, I mean, what would you? I mean, obviously they proposed a couple of things that you don't necessarily agree with, but is there anything that you would propose?
It's tough, honestly. I think that's one thing. If you are, what I would have done for the Jazz is taken away a draft pick. Probably not a first round pick. I would start off with like a second round pick, and if you continue to do it, then take a first round pick. I think that finding teams is irrelevant. It doesn't do anything. These guys are billionaires. They don't care at all. It doesn't make them change anything. They just get fined again. So finding players is a little bit different because not everybody's making that much money. But finding these teams, it's whatever. It's not until you actually start taking away assets, taking away picks, other things like that to like make a difference. So I think that that really is like, again, you're never going to get rid of tanking completely as long as we're in a sport where you're rewarded for being bad, which is also how it should be. Like the best players shouldn't out of the draft shouldn't just be going to good teams because then bad teams will never be good. Um, but I think that there just needs to be, I think it would be better to just have penalties in place for when things go too far like this.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Okay. Well, like I said, these are just proposals, so I'm excited to not excited, I'm sorry. I'm interested to see, between now and the season actually starts, or when the season ends, going into the off season, what exactly they're gonna kind of put in place to kind of uh, you know, chillax with all this bullshit that's kind of going on, man. But yeah, teams just got to be competitive, man. Be competitive. Like I said, have some integrity and focus on player development. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, small markets are always going to kind of be at a disadvantage from a free agency standpoint, but there's certain things that you can kind of control. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. There's been an injury to a guy named Dylan Brooks. For some reason, every team he goes on, it's they're in playoff contention. From being in Memphis to his stint in Houston to now the Phoenix Suns, but Dylan Brooks is now out indefinitely after sustaining a broken left hand during a game against the Orlando Magic. The team has not released an official timeline yet, but players who typically suffer from this injury are typically out from 1 to 2 months. Obviously, he was in the midst of his best career, averaging 21 points per game since he's been acquired by the Rockets. And, Phoenix
So,
Suns have kind of been depleted as well, too. I think Booker's out with a strain, Jordan Goodwin's out, calf strain. Haywood Highsmith's out with a right knee rehab right now. And currently, they're seventh in the Western Conference at 33-24. Some people said he may have potentially could have been an all-star this year. That's up for debate. But what are your thoughts on Dylan Brooks' injury in the state of the Phoenix Suns?
I mean, definitely, it's going to be very tough for them to, I think, finish out the season strong with him probably missing most of the rest of the regular season. But I also think, what was really the season ceiling for this team? I don't
Mm.
think that they were going to do anything for real. No one, the biggest thing was no one thought they were going to be good at all. So the fact that they were a playoff team, I think they should be happy with that. And, you have some younger guys and you're building towards next year. Hopefully Jalen Green can play some down the stretch of the year and get some experience with those guys. But, it hurts and I think it's going to be really tough for them. But I also don't think that they were a team that I even saw getting out of the first round.
Yeah, honestly, they definitely overachieved. I thought they're going to be a play-in team, potentially lottery-based team, even with Devin Booker, just because of how competitive the Western Conference historically is and is this year. But I mean, they are 9 games above 500 right now, looking at the seedings, and in eighth place is the Warriors. So the Warriors are 4.5 games behind them, and then the Clippers obviously have been playing some good basketball as of late. Obviously, they just lost tonight, 5-6 in their last 11 games, but they're 27-29, so they can legit go a while with losing and still be in that seventh, eighth seed to at least, have a chance to play twice within the play. So I think they'll be fine. I think Devin Booker is going to get reevaluated in about a week or so. So hopefully he can come back. And I think he can definitely fill that void because Jalen Green just came back. Obviously, he shot atrocious five of like 20 or 19 the other night,
26,
but hit
6 to
that game winner.
26.
Yeah, even worse, 6-26. But I think when Devin Booker comes back, they can at least, play 500 level basketball itself. So, sucks for him. Um, but injuries are part of the game at the end of the day. So I think they're in a good. The fact that they overachieved and they, like I said, they are above 9 games. They got a lot of wiggle room to kind of stay where they're at right now. Um, yeah, man, it's been an interesting season for the Rockets. Obviously, you were one of the people. I was one of the people who were pretty high on them when the season started as well too. And then obviously Fred VanVleet went down before the season even started. But right now, the Rockets are fourth in the Western Conference at 34-21. Carl Conyers, how far do you think KD can carry these Rockets, man? Because Fred VanVleet, is their primary point guard. He's out. Uh, we've seen a jump in a sense for a little bit with the Man Thompson. Jabari Smith seems kind of the same as I saw last year, but do you think they have enough to have a deep run in the playoffs?
I mean, they have KD, so I could see them making it to the second round, but I don't really trust this Rockets team. Their deficiencies have been glaring over the last couple of months, and again, I think it was their game today or yesterday, they lost like an 18-point lead, and lost the game, and it's just they don't have a point guard. they're relying on Reed Shepherd and Amen Thompson, and Reed's not really a traditional point. Amen absolutely is not. And I was listening to some of Ime's comments, and he was like, "We need guys to get us in our sets to calm us down, like literally the things that a point guard does in the NBA, and they don't have that. So it's, you're handicapped. You need somebody who can really fill that role, and they don't have that. And KD can facilitate, but he can't be your main, playing point guard for you all the time. And you just look at the rest of the roster, it's really not that great, to be honest with you. And then it's definitely devoid of a real playmaker. So it's going to be him having to carry them, yes. And for me, I would put that at the second round at best. Like Şengün is looking very overrated at this point. He's looking like one of those guys of like, oh, you were putting up a lot of numbers on a bad team, and now the team is supposed to be good and has expectations. Your numbers are down, and your defense is getting called out, and you're getting cooked a lot of the time. So. I think that they're going to make some moves this offseason and hopefully try and come back and be better next year. Of course, they'll be getting Fred VanVleet next year, and hopefully Steven Adams can make it through next year. His injuries have kind of been the story of his this latter part of his career. But yeah, they're another team where, especially as we go on and just as they continue to play, I don't really have any faith that they can succeed in playoff basketball.
Yeah, man. Especially when, like you said, when the game slows down in the playoffs, like that's when you need your point guard. And Fred VanVleet was definitely obviously is not one of the best point guards in the league, but is above average. You know what I'm saying? He's played in high leverage moments. He's a champion. He's a big shot maker, a taker when it comes to playoff basketball. But like you say, you need someone to kind of set everyone up. Someone that can also space the floor, someone that can also draw fouls, someone who can help dictate the pace of his game, get people in their sets in, and know, like you said, no one to distribute amid chaos and whatnot as well too. And KD just wants to be a scorer. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Amen Thompson just wants to be a scorer. They can play make, but when you're trying to focus on having being a point guard or playmaker for your team, you kind of lose some of that aggression, and it takes a toll on you. So I think that's, like you said, going to be a huge disadvantage for them going into the playoffs. And like I said, even though men's numbers have gone up, I still not too sold on him yet, as far as like his game being translated into the playoffs. And I haven't really seen anything from Jabari Smith from the offensive end that's going to make me feel a little less better with them. And like you said, I feel like Sengun, obviously they're one of the top seeds last year and they kind of shocked the world. Um, I don't really see anything. So I do think moves need to be made in the offseason. I thought they were going to be one of those teams when we were talking about, the trade deadline and potentially trying to get a point guard. And it doesn't have to be the best one, but like kind of like how y'all got Dennis Schroeder, something like that. You know what I'm saying? I think that would have served. Oh, he's not even on your team. He's on Cleveland, right? That
Yeah,
would
he
have
was
been
on
something
last
that would have
year.
been kind of nice to alleviate that load. But honestly, you say second round, I say low key. They probably gonna get bumped out the first round. I mean, I feel like their best matchup right now. I mean, it's still a lot of basketball left. You know what I'm saying? But just looking at how things are going right now, they're going to be anywhere from the 4 to 6 seed. I don't see them being Denver. I don't see them being Minnesota. I think your best shot is potentially playing the Lakers because the Lakers are defensively challenged. But I think I might take Luka, Bron, and Reeves as a collective with KD and those boys. Even though I'm in Thompson, Jamari Smith, and just the overall identity with the Rockets have been defense. I think KD can win you one, and then Ime can come up with a game plan. But after that, I think another team bumps him out the first round. So it's just unfortunate. Whatever KD goes, ever since leading Golden State, grass just ain't green on the other side, and the point guards be on some shit, whether it's politically or injuries, So that just sucks. But anyways, moving on to another team. Since James Harden has been with the Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe they're 5-1, man. They're looking pretty good. Definitely day and night with how when Garland's healthy has run that offense versus with James Harden. But do you think this is Donovan Mitchell's best chance at finally getting past the second round?
I mean that yeah, this is definitely the best chance that out of the teams that he's been on. I think Sorry. I think that they look pretty good, and they have the double bigs thing definitely works in your favor when you have a guy like Harden who likes to feed his bigs. And at the end of the day, Harden is better than Garland for sure, at least for the regular season, and probably for the playoffs too. Garland hasn't had any huge playoff moments, but
Yeah.
that still doesn't mean that he's going to be what you need to get super deep into the playoffs. East is pretty open, so I could see them making the conference finals, especially depending on what side of the bracket that they end up on, if they're on the side opposite the Pistons. But um, I mean, he's raised their ceiling. They definitely look a lot better. I'll absolutely give them that, and I think it's definitely a move that you make.
Yeah, and then they added some more veterans too. So that's kind of what you need when you're in the playoffs. And I think that's going to serve them well. From player 6 through 8 in that rotation, especially once it gets shortened. But like you said, the biggest thing is probably just James Harden. Obviously, we know he's going to play make at a high level and make everyone else around him better and make it easier on the bigs as well too. Uh, this is probably I know James Harden old as hell right now. This is unfortunately, this is probably the best player that Donovan Mitchell's played with since being drafted to Utah. So a lot of times with Donovan Mitchell, his teammates have been kind of injured in the playoffs, or he just didn't have another guy that can get a bucket, and he feel like he has to be kind of take on that Super Bowl Superman mindset where he has to do everything himself. But I think James Harden is gonna do very well for them. I'm nervous, obviously, with the scoring pressure, but what I'm saying getting Dennis Schroeder and those other guys, I think will kind of help them. And I think what's homie's name? Max Strus is still injured and he's set to come back soon. So they got the pieces, but like you said, it's really going to just depend on where they finish in the Eastern Conference as well too. So right now they're the fourth seed. Toronto has been playing well this year, but they have no experience in the playoffs, like deep experience. Um, so right now, if the playoffs ended, they play the Toronto Raptors, and I think I'll take Cleveland, especially if they're at home in the 7 game series, and then from there, you kind of just hope that you get matched up. Oof. I mean, you gotta go through Detroit after that. So that's tough. That's tough. But no, I think I'm excited for the Eastern Conference, man, and I'm excited to see what the Cavs kind of talk about because I think Mobley just came back, so I want to see what that chemistry also kind of looks like with James Harden when he gets back. But this is their year, like you said, the Eastern Conference is wide open, so it's going to really come down to matchups when it's all said and done. Um, Power rankings, Carl Conyers. Top 8 power rankings for the Eastern Conference. Let me hear yours, man.
So I'm starting with 8. I have Charlotte. I think
Mhm.
that they played these last couple of months, they played really well, especially when they've had this entire starting lineup together. A big part of this is their rookie, Khan. Like he's shooting the lights out. He's a good overall, all-around player. And then, Brandon Miller can get you buckets, LaMelo can get you buckets, and they just have Diabate is really good at boarding. Just have a decent team. So, yeah, I have them at the 8 spot. Down from there, I have Toronto.
That's 7.
Not Toronto's weird to me because that's also why I have them lower on here. There's not something to me that makes them special. I'm not super high on Scotty Barnes, but they played well. They have a good record. They also have Brandon Ingram and RJ Barrett, and Barrett's getting back healthy. So I definitely think they could give somebody fits in the first round of the playoffs, but I don't see them going super far. Then after that, I have Orlando. They can't seem these past 2 years. They can't seem to get over these injuries. Last year was Franz and Paolo. This year, Paolo, I think, got injured a little bit earlier, but then it's mostly been Franz. He's out again. He's going to be out for a couple more weeks. Suggs is usually in and out of the lineup. Um, this is the Desmond Bain trade has not been what they needed it to. And Bain hasn't been terrible, but they just are in the exact same place they were in last year, basically, maybe even a little bit lower. Then next to them, I have Philadelphia. Hard to know what to make of them with Embiid being in and out of the lineup, and then also, PG is gone for the rest of the regulars, for most of the rest of the regular season at least. So we'll see kind of how that affects them when he comes back, and they get into the playoffs. Then after that, I have New York. I mean, Jalen Brunson is a hooper. He's absolutely a hooper, but him and Cat are defensive liabilities. Cat, questionable playoff success. He's had definitely had some good games, especially now these past couple years compared to when he was in Minnesota. But yeah, I just they lose. For instance, they've lost their 3 games against the Pistons by at least like all of them by at least like 15 points or something like that, you know. So just hard. And a lot of times I will say some of these regular season, series don't hold as much weight when we get to the playoffs, but sometimes they do. So I just don't really have a lot of faith in them, but they still, to me, are a top 4 team. Then after them, I have Boston. They're, playing really great, still have a good record. Jaylen Brown is playing like an MVP caliber player. They might get Tatum back, so that could be something. Vucevic has been really good for them off the bench. And then 2, I have Cleveland now. I think that the James Harden trade really boosted their ceiling up. And then number 1 is number 1. It's been number 1 all year. And it's the Pistons.
I like that. I like that. 8, I had the Hornets just like you. 7, just for them battling injuries and still kind of finding ways to win. 6 and 4 in their last games. I had Miami. 6, I had Toronto. I just feel like with the addition of Brandon Ingram, them kind of figuring things out. I think they've been pretty good, especially against their Eastern Conference opponents. 5, I had the 76ers. Had a pleasure to kind of see them twice. Obviously, they split one with the Clippers, one with the Lakers. They just got a nice, notable win tonight, I believe, against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Joel Embiid has been healthy as of late, which has been pretty good. Maxi has been playing great. It looks like they're finding a rhythm right now. And it's going to be a plus when PG comes back if he can just be 70, 80%. But he should be fully healthy and cleared to go. So I think that's a sleeper team right there. 4, I got the Knicks. I was gonna rate them higher, but they got that belt to ass by you guys the other day. Um, Number 3, I had Cleveland. They lost today, but that was our part of the game. 2, I had Boston Celtics, especially with this win that they've had with the Lakers, and Jalen Brown's been playing well. Joe Mazzulla's been getting in his bag as well too. I really kind of had them as a play-in team, looking from the outside in, but they've been playing great. And number 1, like you said, been number 1 all year, and had a couple suspensions and still getting things done. So Detroit Pistons, my number 1 on the Eastern Conference top 8 power rankings. Now moving on to the Western Conference power rankings, Carl Conyers for your top 8. Who you got?
8, I got Phoenix. And this is kind of even independent of the Devin Booker, I mean, not Devin Booker, of the Dylan Brooks news. But yeah, just again, they're a cool team, but I definitely think that their ceiling is making it barely into the playoffs, especially just when you look at how stacked the West is and the teams above them. Because then next I have Golden State. Steph makes your team dangerous, and I think that them being the 7th best team is right about where things are. Sucks about Porzingis. I know we talked about him and having pots, and it looks like this is just gonna. It looks like this might really be his last year in the league, to be honest with you. He might find a way to do another one, but he played the other night, and then they said he is sick again, and he's not going to be playing this next game, and he's not even like coming to the arena type shit. So the things that I've looked at, it's just like it's really bad, like you just get lightheaded and other things like that, and it's really bad for tall players. So
Damn.
yeah, rough. Then I have the Lakers. Defense is a problem. It's going to be a problem. They have the offense, but the defense is really, really not good. Then I have Houston. You know, they've been playing like a top 4 seed for the most part. I have them 5th here because I just don't really believe in them fully when it comes to the playoffs. Then I have Minnesota. Ant's been great. They definitely, I think, will finish as a top 4, 4, maybe 5 seed just because of how packed everything is. But when it comes to the playoffs, I think they're going to be the 4th best team. Then next, I have San Antonio. As long as you guys stay healthy, you're definitely one of the top teams, especially you match up really well with OKC. Then I have Denver, and then number 1, same on the West side, the same team that's been number 1 all year is OKC. I think that one of their strengths is the same thing that is one of the strengths of Detroit. is their depth, and depth in the playoffs is king. Detroit had a huge stretch earlier in the year where we missed players and we other guys just randomly stepped up and they won. Same with right now with two of our best players being suspended, they're still winning. OKC tonight didn't have Shea, Jalen, just a bunch of guys they didn't have. And again, it was their depth and all these random role players that had them pull out a win against Cleveland. Yeah, I still firmly believe in them, even though they, definitely are not as hot as they started out in the season, but to me, they're still number one.
Mm, okay. Eight, I had the Clippers. Granted, they lost 2 games. I don't put too much against them because Kawhi hurt his ankle against the Lakers, so he couldn't finish that game. But they've been playing some competitive basketball, and I will not be surprised if they sneak into, try to get that final seed in the playing game. And Benedict Mathurin has been proven to be a pretty good pick for them or trade for them as well too. And I'm excited to see what Darius Garland kind of looks like whenever he happens to get healthy. That would be a good gauge. 7, Phoenix Suns. Still been playing well with a lot of injuries. Obviously, they just suffered another one that we kind of talked about today with Dylan Brooks. But once D Book gets back, I think they can kind of keep him afloat. 6, Lakers, like yourself. We know what they can do offensively, but they can't guard a parked bus. So that's going to be a concern as well too. I think they're just one of those teams that just has to kind of stay healthy, and then I think if they get to the playoffs, they can kind of run it. But they at where they at right now. 5, Houston, just like yourself. 4, Minnesota, just like you. 3, I had Denver. Even though they got all the pieces that they kind of need, they are 4-6 their last 10 games. And you can't lose a game like the game to the Warriors today, especially when they're kind of a little banged up as well. Um, 2, I had OKC. Granted, they're on a 2-game win streak as well. But I was a little biased as well too. The Spurs are on an 8-game win streak, and I think past I say almost month they've been looking like the best team in the Western Conference, and Wemby's been playing lights out with those boys and their depth and their coach Miss Johnson. So that was my top 8 power rankings for the Western Conference as well. Now moving on to one of our other topics. I, I think I know your answer, but I just want to hear from your perspective. Obviously we still got a little bit of basketball left. Who's your MVP right now? There's such a tight race. We got your boy from Detroit. We got Jalen Brown, who's been playing great basketball. We got Wemby, who's been looking good. We got Joker. We got Anthony Edwards. We have so many players right now. You know what I'm saying? So it may honestly come down to the end of it is who actually was available to play 65 games. You know what I'm saying? So some niggas may not get it just because they ain't get the required amount of games. But right now, in your eyes, who you guys MVP? I know it's early, but who you got?
No, I mean, I think we're in the second half of the season, almost the last fourth of the season. So this is really, when we start to nail this down. But
The race too.
for me, I actually think I have Jokic as my MVP, but I think
Ooh.
he only has one more game that he can miss in order to maintain like be in compliance with the rule. So my backup is who you probably thought it was, and that's Cade. I
Damn.
think if Jokic is eligible, the season that he's been having, the season that the Nuggets have been having, it's hard to ignore that. I think that because even if he is eligible, because he's missed a decent amount of games, that's going to ding him. So he might not win it. But you look at what he was doing before he got injured and what he's been doing since he got back. I think he's just kind of out of people's minds right now. But yeah, he's been lights out. But considering that he has very small margin of error and they might sit him 1 or 2 games, I have Cade. You're leading this team to the best record in the East, and they're actually close to having one of the best to having the best record in the NBA. I think they're only like a couple games back of OKC at this point. And this was a team that was not one of the worst team in the league like just 2, 3 years ago. So the progression to be able to build with these guys, and now you're carrying them without a second bona fide offensive star to the heights that you're carrying them. Um, and to be fair to me, you're looking like, I definitely would put Ant up there, but you're looking like the best American player as well. So you holding that down for us.
Mm. I like that. I like that. Okay. I'm a little biased right now, so I'm gonna go with Victor Wembanyama.
Hasn't he missed too many games?
I think he's still eligible for a couple more games if I did my research right. So he's still up there. Still up
Okay.
there. But elite statistical production, averaging 24 points, 11 rebounds, obviously leading the league in blocks, even with the time he's missed. And right now he's averaging 3 blocks per game. The Spurs so far have had already a 30 game turnaround as well. Right now we're the second in the Western Conference. 40-16, 8 game win streak. And last year we were the eighth worst team. So I think he's been the most dominant player right now. Obviously, free agency kind of helped with that. Grabbing Dylan Harper, the emergence of Stephon Castle, we just look like a well-oiled machine. But we go where he goes. You know what I'm saying? So I love his defensive dominance, his guard-like skill set, his presence in the paint, competitive mindset and discipline, and is rubbing off on the team as well. To be that young and to take that leadership and everybody kind of follow suit at this age is only going to work good for us in the long run as well too. So I have a lot of high hopes for us, but like we said, the biggest thing is being consistent and being available. That's the best. That's the best ability is availability. So I think if he can get to that threshold, I think he's gonna shock the world. Depending on how it goes, like I said, it's going to be either going to come down to who got the games in, or they may just give it to who got the best record because this shit looking crazy right now. Like Detroit 42-13, OKC 44-14, San Antonio 40-16, and then you got Boston 37-19. So everyone's kind of paddling for that. When it's all said and done, it's going to definitely be between that three-horse race with Detroit, OKC, and San Antonio. But it would be nice to kind of see someone not only win the regular season MVP, but also Defensive Player of the Year. I think the last person to do that was who? Michael Jordan?
No, Giannis.
Giannis won Defensive Player of the Year and MVP in the same year?
Yeah.
I forgot. God
Yeah, bro. He
damn.
was going crazy. He still is. He just,
Yeah,
some
he's on the
injuries with
trash
the
team.
team.
Yeah, on the trash team. But yeah, so that's mine for now. Then I got Cade right there as well. Then Joker at three, and then number four, I got Shea, and then number five. Uh, Probably go with Jalen Brown as well too. And then my sixth man will probably be Anthony Edwards. So second half of the season, post All-Star break, what are you most looking forward to between now and playoff time, man?
Cade, man. Cade and these Pistons, to be honest with you, he has been putting on a show. They're finally getting national recognition. The way he just cooked the Knicks. Now I've seen almost every talk show finally talking about him. We're a small market team. Even though Detroit has a good history, we're still a small market team, so it's tough to get that national attention, and he has captured it. And that's how you know when somebody is a star, is, no matter where they're playing at, people are paying attention. So I'm just really excited to see how the rest of the season is going to play out. Um, See, how these guys around him mesh and how they kind of finish out, and yeah, really just ready for the playoffs, man.
Yeah, man. I hope y'all stay healthy. And when the playoffs start, I need y'all niggas to get the OG Bad Boy Pistons and then that 2004 Pistons team all courtside, at least in the 100 level. Need all that support. It's gonna be rowdy in there, and y'all gonna have that joint lit. So I'm curious to see, how everything kind of comes together when you have to lock in on one team as well. But if you guys stay healthy with that number one seed, I think y'all definitely cruise in the first round and then the second round where it's gonna get a little bit challenging. But I'm curious to see, the next steps that Durant kind of takes and the offseason acquisitions that you guys kind of had. I want to see how all that comes together. So I'm excited for y'all. But other than that, I kind of want to see how Cleveland ends out the season with James Harden acquisition. Like I said, Mobley kind of just came back, so I want to see where they kind of end with things and see where they end at in their seedings as well too. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, obviously my Spurs, right? It'll be nice if we get the one seed. If we get the one seed, I think the voters definitely gonna be like, "Oh, y'all better than OKC." They definitely gonna give Homie the MVP. But yeah, that's what I'm excited about the Cleveland storyline with James Harden. And then seeing how my young team kind of you know ends the season. Last topic of the day, man. Carl Conyers, man. Last week LeBron James became the oldest player to record a triple double at 41 years of age. Obviously, LeBron James discussed one major factor that could kind of determine how long the NBA leading career scorer stays in the league. He said, and I quote, "My game is not going anywhere. It's just my body. And but how long I can stay in love with the process, we'll see. Because it's always been my thing. If I can continue to stay in love with the process, then if that goes, then my body's going to go too. And once my body goes, then it's a wrap. I think this year he's only been playing 33 minutes. Right now the Lakers are, a playoff team right now, but the Lakers have a decision to make next year. Where do you see LeBron at next year? Do you think he keeps this thing going, or do you think he comes back for a 24th season and maybe he's on another team?
I think he's gonna come back. It definitely seems like he's gonna be on another team, and it might be Cleveland, which would be crazy. But it looks like things have kind of ran their course in LA from all the reports that we've been seeing the past couple of weeks and past couple of months. Even, a story coming out. I think that Jeannie Buss wrote that thing talking about dealing with LeBron and stuff. So, I mean, LeBron clearly can play. He could probably play another 5 years. I don't think that's what he wants to do because, things would continue to diminish, but he's still playing at a really high level. And I think that he would make another team great. I think that LeBron will announce when he's retiring. I think, maybe he'll do it when the season is over, but I don't know if he's the type to just play out the season without any type of inkling.
Hell no, that nigga loves too much attention, too much attention. He ain't gonna be like a Tim Duncan, like you gonna leave, you gonna go. What's gonna happen? Um, he definitely believes in his mind he's the greatest player of all time, and he definitely would love to have that last hurrah. I thought it was poetic justice being wearing number 23, year 23, that this is going to be his last year. But the fact that he's still playing above average and still all-star level, still has enough in the tank as long as he keeps his body right. His mental's going to be solid. Obviously, like you said, the Lakers have a lot of decisions to make. I think it's about time for the Lakers to kind of see what life is like without LeBron, and if in order if they want to move forward, because that's damn near $50 million in the cap space that you can kind of use to kind of build around Luca and Austin Reeves if they choose to do so. But yeah, man, there's some teams he can go to. It just depends on if he's trying to get a solid bag or not. Because I'm looking at the Cleveland reunion that kind of looks nice. So I expect James Harden and Donovan Mitchell to kind of recruit him. I'm a sicko. Playing with Joker would be kind of nice as well too. I ain't mad at that. Or even in the Garden, that would be kind of cool too. So he got some options because I feel like wherever he goes, he definitely wants to have a chance to kind of compete. That's what he's been known for. But if I was a betting man, I'd say he finishes his year next year with the Cleveland Cavaliers, announces it. Once he gets signed, he's also going to announce that this is last year, and this is the go at it. So that's my prediction. That's my prediction for LeBron James.
Okay, we gonna see.
We gonna see. Any last remarks for this week's episode?
Hope everybody has a good week, man. Excited, we're getting close to the playoffs. See how things are gonna shake out.
See how things are going to shake out. There's going to be some high level basketball, especially when it gets towards the end with the playing that's going to be going on, man. Man, I really, really hope, dog, that I want to see. I mean, I want to see Charlotte in the fucking playoffs, man. Like LaMelo's been in the league too long for to not be in the goddamn playoffs. Like we seen him once, I think, in the play-in, and he played terrible. But they got the pieces to at least win a game and play it close before the more experienced team kind of finishes out in crunch time. But I would like to see, like you said, the rookie that's been playing well, Bridges, Brandon Miller himself, all those guys kind of play together. Like they got the talent to compete. So I kind of want to see that. But aside from that, hope everyone has a good week. Make sure y'all stay safe. Like you said, there's some great basketball that's going on right now. We got the March Madness tournament coming up relatively pretty soon. There's just good hoops all around. But ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 173 of the Season Show. Make sure to subscribe on all forms of social media at the Season Show, at Carl Conyers, at Sir Caesar. We out.